The world of Ashale was dying. Not from war or disease but from betrayal. High above the swirling blue-green clouds, the last members of the royal bloodline clung to survival aboard a silent ship. The once mighty empire of the Zinthari had fractured after civil war erupted, splintered by greed, ambition, and the loss of something more precious than wealth or power: unity. Princess Varel sat in the cockpit of the stolen shuttle, her features weary and drawn despite her regal bearing. Her silver skin shimmered under the emergency lights, and her lavender eyes, once full of fire, now watched the stars pass with quiet urgency. Cradled beside her was her young daughter, Enya, barely 10 galactic cycles old, and far too young to bear the weight of an empire's collapse. "Where are we going, Mother?" Enya asked, her voice muffled against her mother's cloak. "To find someone who will protect us," Varel replied, brushing a lock of shimmering hair from the girl's forehead. "Someone who still believes in honor." Enya blinked up at her. "Like father." Varel looked away. Her mate had died on the steps of the throne spire, buying them time to escape. That image haunted her dreams, his last words, "Run, claim sanctuary," echoing in her ears. But where could a deposed princess and her child find safety in a galaxy that had forsaken them? Chapter 1: The Edge of Soul. The humans called it Soul. A minor system, unremarkable by galactic standards, but fiercely independent, and wholly unpredictable. The Zinthari had once regarded humans as primitive upstarts, but that perception changed rapidly after the First Contact War. Earth had survived. Worse yet for the old empires, it had won. Humanity's rise disrupted centuries of order in the Galactic Compact. Where once bureaucracies ruled, now humans introduced chaos, innovation, and something few species dared wield: empathy. It was to Earth that Varel fled. Their ship limped into lunar orbit on fumes, just beyond the edge of civilian tracking. With most of her systems fried by an electromagnetic storm near Tau Ceti, she initiated a distress beacon, but coded it in old trade cant, a language only used by scholars, pirates, and maybe someone who still remembered the old oaths. Hours passed. Then came the response. Chapter 2: First Contact. Derek Hayes was not a diplomat. He wasn't even an officer anymore. Retired from the United Earth Expeditionary Corps, he now worked salvage runs near the belt, collecting derelict satellites and old debris for recycling. So when his system pinged with an ancient Zinthari code on an encrypted channel, he blinked, rubbed his eyes, and cursed under his breath. "Probably a trap," he muttered. "But curiosity's a hell of a drug." Against better judgment, he traced the signal and approached in his retrofitted hauler, Tessa's Gambit. What he found shocked him. The shuttle was noble-class Zinthari tech, sleek, silver-white, adorned with insignias long since erased from the Galactic Registry. Life signs, too. 1 adult, 1 child. Both weak. No weapon systems active. He hailed them. The face that appeared on screen wasn't what he expected. Her eyes met his. Regal. Desperate. And for a moment something else: hope. "I am Princess Varel of the fallen house Nakarian. My daughter and I are unarmed, wounded, and seeking asylum. We know of Earth's laws, but I ask, not as royalty but as a mother, will you claim us as yours?" Derek stared. "Come again. Under Zinthari right, if one of royal blood is claimed by a sovereign individual, they are bound by loyalty, protection, and the right of sanctuary. We beg you, please, claim us as yours." He scratched his beard. "Lady, I'm just a guy with a glorified tow truck and a half-functioning coffee machine." She bowed her head. "Then may the stars forgive us. We have no other choice." Chapter 3: The Weight of Names. Derek docked and boarded the shuttle cautiously. The atmosphere inside was breathable but stale. He found the two huddled near the rear, cloaked in ceremonial garments now scorched and patched. The child looked up at him with eyes like amethysts, unafraid but watchful. "All right," he said, exhaling slowly. "You're safe now. I'm taking you in." Varel looked up. "Then you accept the claim." "I don't know what that means exactly," he admitted, "but I'm not leaving you out here to die." At his words, something ancient stirred in the ship's console. A glowing sigil pulsed between them, a bond seal in Zinthari law, thousands of years old. "By witness of the stars," Varel whispered, "you have claimed us." Chapter 4. Sanctuary. Earth was not immediately welcoming. Humans had learned, after a few painful betrayals, to question sudden visitors from fallen empires. When Derek reported what he'd found, the orbital authorities nearly impounded his ship. But when the child, Enya, spoke to them in perfect Terran standard, asking for home, the tension softened. After several days of quarantine and debriefings, the authorities released them into Derek's care under the Provisional Refugee Clause. That's when things got complicated. Suddenly, Derek wasn't just a hauler. He was guardian by claim to two very high-profile political exiles. Media interest spiked. The Zinthari Civil War was still fresh in galactic memory, and many still had opinions. Some called Varel a war criminal, others a survivor. Derek kept them in his rural Nevada homestead, quiet, far from prying eyes. He taught Enya how to ride a hoverbike and introduced Varel to the miracle of human food. She became obsessed with kettle corn. In return, she taught him Zinthari customs, languages, and the ancient rituals of bond and honor. Their bond grew, not just out of duty but shared understanding. And then came the night of the attack. Chapter 5. Those Who Would Take. It started with a flicker in the power grid. By the time Derek got to the front door, the mercenaries had already landed. Exo-suited and armed, they came not to parley but to retrieve. Varel pulled Enya behind her and activated the small beacon embedded in her necklace. Derek stood beside them, holding only an old plasma shotgun. "You're in violation of Earth territory," he warned. "You're harboring fugitives," the mercenary captain replied. "Step aside, human." Derek didn't budge. "You don't get it," he said. "She's mine." The lead merc sneered. "She was royalty. That doesn't make her yours." "No, not hers. Them." He stepped forward, weapon raised. "I accepted the claim. That means they're under my protection. Which means anyone who tries to hurt them answers to me." A heartbeat passed. Then Varel stepped beside him. "Under Zinthari right, he speaks true. He is our guardian, and under Earth law, you will respect his right to defend his bond." The mercs hesitated. Too long. Because suddenly, streaks of blue tore across the sky. Earth's planetary defense grid had gone live. The mercenary dropship exploded midair. The rest ran. Chapter 6. A Family of Choice. The aftermath was surprisingly swift. Earth's council officially recognized the claim, more as a political move than anything else. Other Zinthari noble survivors came out of hiding, emboldened by Varel's defiance. Talks of rebuilding, not the old empire but something new, began in hushed halls. Derek never sought the spotlight, but he found himself in it anyway. Not as a soldier, not as a hero, but as something rare in the galaxy. A man who said yes when others would have said no.